Hello, our international leader, our international community, welcome to the international show, the very contemporary issue where we discuss every day regularly. We have such a great, honorable personality on our show that we feel really very proud to host this international show with our dearest, valuable, so learned, so proficient, so profound, and who holds very much vast knowledge on the contemporary issue, and he is serving our international community since very long. And he has got international experience. He is very much honorable, he is very much respected, and I can say that this time, today's session will be worth of watching, inshallah. So live the experience and learn from it, and let's get ourselves ready to address the very issue which is our point to address: human trafficking and illegal slavery, which is our topic to be discussed on this international show, your favorite show from every part of the world, from every corner of the world. Together, we are united. As you can see, I have connected myself from Dhaka, Bangladesh, Monira Sultana, your host of this international show, and we have connected the guest of honor, the personality, the legend, what I should say, I don't have words to explain that the learned personality. He is our lecturer from Calcutta University, and he is president of social organization IHUNA, and he is representing global citizenship. And he is a man within himself, living 100 years more than maybe decades. So I will, of course, request our guest of honor, our crown of this show, Mr. Moloy K.R. Ghoshal. Please welcome on this international show, sir. Mr. Moloy, how are you today?
Well, first of all, I want to extend my most cordial, humble, respectful, and sincere greetings to all of you. No doubt, I remain wholeheartedly grateful inter alia to Badan Sultana for speaking so highly of me, even though I do not deserve it. I am a very modest public servant. I believe in humanity, and therefore I consider myself to be duty bound to render my personal service in order to discourage the heinous crimes of human trafficking and illegal slavery,
Okay.
which is merely not a problem in a particular country or a particular community or even on a particular continent, but it's a global problem now.
Right.
Before I proceed, I crave leave to say a few words about slavery as a whole. I myself consider my own humble self to be a Jewish Christian, and this is also a striking chapter in my life because I initially was born into a very orthodox Brahmin Hindu family.
Okay.
Having seen the film Ben-Hur, made inter alia by late Charlton Heston, I came to embrace the Jewish Christian faith, which changed my life.
Okay.
But now returning to slavery, we see already in the very first book of the Bible or Torah, slavery is found there. Joseph was sold, Joseph the son of Jacob. Jacob later or was known also as Israel, because according to the Torah or the Holy Bible, he fought with God and yet prevailed, was sold as a slave into Egypt, having undergone severe time, very difficult time, and persecution. He himself, by interpreting two dreams of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, perhaps the mightiest man in the world, became the second in command in Egypt. He himself became what would be now perhaps a combination of the prime minister, the vice president, the admiral in chief, and all you can think of in one single person after Pharaoh, the king of Egypt himself. He also interpreted the Pharaoh's dreams that 7 years of plenty will be followed by 7 years of famine. When 7 years of famine began to occur, people first bought the food which was preserved in Egypt, but later their money ran out, so they sold their land and their cattle, and at last they sold themselves as slaves. But Joseph was a God-fearing man. He wanted to be fair and just all the time, as we also know, towards those brothers of his who sold him to Egypt. He only ensured that a fifth of the whole produce, if I may use the word in speech marks or inverted commas, would be collected for Pharaoh, and the 4/5 would be kept by the former landowners themselves, which a noble deed of his.
Okay.
We also see that some tyrannical powers, like Imperium Rome, and although my Latin is not sound enough, yet I shall try to say, perhaps it's called Imperium Roma or Imperium Romana, which ruled a large part of Europe, North Africa, and no doubt parts of Asia, often oppressed people. If people surrendered themselves, I mean the community, they granted the people Roman citizenship or civis Romana or civis Roma. But if they didn't, those people were extremely oppressed, persecuted, crucified, burnt, even had to undergo various other types of worse fate, if I may use the expression. We already know that in the Roman Empire there was a Roman slave called Spartacus, and correct my pronunciation, in English we say Spartacus. He rebelled against the Roman Empire. Later, of course, he was defeated and was crucified. But you see, he brought a great change on the mind of the people, which in the course of centuries shook the Roman Empire as a whole, leading to its collapse and liberation of people. Referring to crucifixion, again I want to add, crucifixion, to the best of my little knowledge that I possess, I'm not a very logical little person, just a little I possess, was initially a Macedonian punishment, not a Roman one, adopted by the Romans and imposed by the Romans against non-Roman citizens, which included, of course, Spartacus himself. Later, of course, slavery continued. Many a times we saw when people were unable to pay their debts, they sold themselves into slavery. And in the Roman Empire, when they complained, the Roman masters brought the defense known as, in Latin again, volenti non fit injuria, a volunteer, he who volunteers cannot complain, maybe a free translation, which is now used even in the tortoise law, or in tortoise liability, in our modern legal system, based upon the common law of England or Anglo-American legal system even today. But of course, there were individuals like late President Abraham Lincoln, whom I honor from the very core of my heart, or I should say, whose ideology I honor, because as a Jewish Christian, I should not honor a dead man. It is prohibited, according to Torah. But I honor his principles, his ideology, and there were others also, three distinguished lawyers, my apologies for mispronouncing the word, in the British Empire, who also brought cases before the Right Honourable Judiciary in England, and of course many other countries followed the suit. And no doubt I have great respect for the principles laid down also by late Nelson Mandela of South Africa, and many others who took up the initiation of fighting against slavery. Once upon a time, perhaps not that long ago, slavery was legal. Today we know it is illegal, unlawful. But to all due regrets, sadness, and rage, if I may use the word, my utter anger, I admit this is more widely spread than ever before. Slavery is being carried out and continuing to be carried out throughout the world more intensely, more cruelly, more ruthlessly, more widely than ever before. Many people from the Latin American countries try to come to much more advanced countries like the North American countries like the United States of America and Canada, looking for a better life, when many of them are again confronted with extremely pathetic situations. Many people from Eastern Europe try to go to Western Europe. They are confronted with similar situations. Many people from the oceanic islands try to go to Australia and New Zealand and find themselves in a similar situation. And many people from other countries, my neighboring countries, come to India and they find themselves to a much worse situation. And I, with all due regret and shame, admit that our country is most probably now on the top of the list, having unrecorded, yet the number of illegal slaves in the country. Little boys, little girls, women are enslaved unlawfully, and at many cases even weak men. And I'm ashamed, and I therefore believe that it is my duty as a human being, as a citizen of my country, and as a global fellow citizen of all of you, my most respected and honored viewers of this live broadcasting, to come forward and combat such heinous crimes, which I myself term evil, with the best of our ability. Yet, I want to emphasize the fact and the point that we must do it lawfully, not illegally, not by violence, but we must work within the framework of the law, even befitting the charter laid down by the United Nations Organization, or the UN Charter, as it is often called. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. We were listening to our guest of honor, the crown of the show, Mr. Monoy Kumar Ghoshal. So from India, he was speaking the background, the scenario, what is happening even in India, even in different parts of the world. So now I'd like to welcome our another guest of honor, Mr. Sorin. He is representing Romania. He is my colleague, my friend. So I would like to listen from Mr. Sorin. Please introduce yourself, and I'm welcoming to the international show today's discussion that we will discuss about human trafficking and illegal slavery. But first, I want to know how you are doing, Mr. Sorin from Romania.
Hello, everybody. Hello to you, Monira. Hello to you, Mr. Namaste to both of you from Europe, from Romania. I am so delighted to be invited here in this international live performance. So I would like to express my gratitude for both of you to be in the same show with you with this important topic and very powerful, I can say, because touch everybody's life to one point. Because most of families can be touched by this phenomenon in a one way or another. Unfortunately, Romania is it's one of the most most biggest exporters of the prostitution and child slavery in Europe. Unfortunately, we fight with this phenomenon, but it's very important not to remain only numbers in some books, in some records. To mark them, just to offer a solution, a real solution, not only ideas how to do, just to do. Unfortunately, again, not all the forces that are paid and are settled to solve this problem are really solve the problem. Sometimes the defenders are in good relations with traffickers. Unfortunately, it's not only our problem, but it's a regional problem.
Right.
Most of European women are trafficked to West Europe. So we are not very happy with this quality to export this. But we are dealing with this, of course. So it's important to meet from all over the world to change experience, and solutions. Most of it, not only ideas, because it's important to stop the phenomenon, not to talk about it.
Right.
So I'm like a small conclusion. I'm delighted again to be here. So we hope to be the first show about this topic, and after a while to find together, after a brainstorming, to find solutions, not to let only the authorities to handle with this, because civil society needs to involve in these problems, not just to stay and hear about it.
True.
We to VALEX Association, we have more than 600 young volunteers registered. They like to have volunteer, but also we want them to not put in these traps in online medium to fall down into the trap of human trafficking or child slavery, because it's very dangerous in this. It's not only outside in the real life, but lately it's a danger. It's in medium, in online situation. So you don't know who is behind the screen, and especially the girls are most put in jeopardy for this phenomenon, to be blackmailed or after to be trafficked. So please, now it's your turn to discuss later forward.
Okay, so we will definitely ask some important questions to both of you, and we will try to find solution, and we will also request both of you to please organize something where we can all work together. where we can put our hand in one hand and we can hold others, we can uphold our value, we can create something bigger and greater, and we can really can impact on this world to solve the issue, which is really very much crucial. And I will request all of you to answer our questions and to share your experience, as you are both very much experienced. I know from your experience, I have already learned that you have dealt with this sort of issue from your point of view, from your end. So now I will ask our dearest guest of honor, Mr. Maulik Kumar Ghoshal, that I want to know that can you please share your experience related with these issues? Why you are so much connected with this subject matter, that human trafficking and illegal slavery? Why it was pointed out in your soul that we should talk about on today's show? What is the matter in your mind? Can you please tell us?
Yes, I believe every evil that exists in our world also has a root. And one of those roots is often based upon fake belief that if those people emigrate from one country and immigrate into another, they are likely to have a better life.
Mhm.
This is
Right.
possible. This perhaps also happened. Many people after the first, later after the Second World Wars, emigrated from one country to another in order to have a better life. And many of them never wanted to return to their native lands in plural, I would say. There are at the current moment also another fake belief. They often think, and this often happens, at least to the little experience that I could make in my life, was many girls and women, they believe, if they emigrate from their country to another country, they will find a husband who is worthy of their love, if I may use the expression, who will treat them better than their native countrymen.
Okay.
They will have a better life there. But often the problem is they often fall into the vicious circle of human traffickers who
Right.
collect their identification, saying that, well, they are in safe custody when they're with us. They to take them to the other countries, and I'm afraid I want to correct my own self. This happened not merely or happen. This happens not merely to women, but also to men who want to go to another country hoping for a better living. Take their
Oh,
passports, and then they take them away, and these people are without any documents. They're afraid to go to the police authorities, and then they are practically enslaved. Women are often put into, with all due apologies, I have to use the expression, it's a taboo, but I will still have to use the expression. They often find themselves in brothels, in red light areas, and this happens to young girls to my utter shame, because I happen to be a human being and I'm ashamed of my human birth because I have not been able to solve this problem. But this happens. And you see, those people cannot come out of those circles. The other roots are, of course, also based upon the governments of those countries in which such human trafficking take place, the authorities. You see, I believe every civilized country depends on three pillars, like a tripod stool. And I'm using this a very simple example of a tripod stool, a wooden stool, imagine. I believe you all know what a wooden stool is. Most of our houses have one of them with three legs, and we sometimes sit on them or put something on them. But if one of the three legs is shorter than the remaining two or remaining one, the stool is likely to fall off. Likewise, if the weight is put on one side, the stool is also likely to fall off. If it is a wooden stool, it will break. This what happens also with every system of every civilized country. One is known as legislative bodies, which pass the law. Those legislative bodies cannot function on their own. The legislative bodies also need the executive organs, which are usually public servants or sometimes called civil servants, who are subordinated to those legislative authorities in order to carry out their duties befitting the legislation passed by the legislative organs, the parliament, the legislative bodies and others, even the bylaws. And of course, the most important of all is the honorable judiciary. The honorable judiciary has to be absolutely impartial and, of course, indeed, fearless, befitting the very oath which their lordships take when taking their offices. They should be permitted and ought to be permitted to act independently of the government of the state and all the other organs. And their pronounced law ought to be imposed properly by the executive authorities without being bribed, without being in fear of the others who are superior to them. That is absolutely essential in every civilized country of our world. At least that is my personal opinion, however humble or modest I may be.
We have been talking about the roots, but now let's see the other side. Who are making innocent people victim in this in human trafficking and illegal slavery?
Yes.
Let's see the opposite. Let's see the opposite now.
Yes, I'm
Who is
smiling.
making it? Who is in the other part?
Yes, I'm smiling with tears in my eyes. You see, in the world, there is a category of people who are extremely greedy. And
Yes.
you might have noticed I have more than one Facebook accounts.
Yes.
And in one of those Facebook accounts you will find, I have written my motto: the world produces enough for everyone's need, but it
Yes.
can never produce enough for anyone's greed. And there are too many greedy people in the world who want to make money at the cost of the defenseless.
Yes.
And that's
Of course.
another route,
Yes,
evil
of
route.
course. It's
Rise to slavery.
also here in Europe. It's great unbalance still between Western Europe and Eastern Europe. So the need of the money, it's a good motivation for everybody.
Just what about the time when Charles Dickens lived in England? Permit me to ask this question. In his famous book, Oliver Twist, we see that orphan boy who later, of course, becomes related to wealthy, or I should say, who is related to wealthy people but does not know this. Brought up in an orphanage, tortured, has to go under the severe hunger. He goes to the city of London and brought in what we say in Bengali, the dera, or the place of Famine.
Yes, of course.
And Famine uses these children as slaves or criminals, in a sense, to pickpocket others. So again, you see, slavery was there in those days too, in a sense, only in another form and perhaps than it appears today. This is tragic, but very true. Yes,
Yes.
please.
Please tell our story from Romania. Do you like to add with our star?
As I said before, who are making the innocent people to become a victim of human trafficking and child slavery, illegal slavery? They are very known, the networks, not only for a nation but international networks that
Right.
keeps keeps the victims like into a net.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they fix some victims and drag them into their network with a possibility, most of the times with a possibility to escape from this network of kidnapping or blackmail or so on.
Okay.
Their range of activity is very wide.
Okay.
It's not limited just to one type of slavery or one type of human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
Some are trafficked for organs, some are trafficked for bodies.
Oh,
Not yes,
I see.
yes,
I
because
see.
organ traffic, human trafficking for organs, it's another part of the problem. Most of the part is hidden. This trafficking, human trafficking with prostitutes, it's to the view. Everybody see it on the street. But this with human trafficking for organs, it's a hidden market, not very often seen by the others. So I think it's a very good point to discuss, not only now, but and later about this subject.
Yeah, yeah, we will organize more programs on this. This is just the part one, the initial discussion where we can know each other and we can greet each other and we can start our working together. This is the point. We can start. This is
Yeah,
just the start button. There, Sorin, and our there star Mono from India and the Romania from Syria. So I want to
yes. In
address
this kind
one
of
thing.
platform, we can shake hands and unite our hands for a better world, and
Yeah.
not just to action, to hear our voice, not only stay in view.
True, true. True, I'm agreed with Sorin and I'm agreed with Sar that the point has been raised today. It has to be addressed from this point, from this platform. Because Sorin, you also know that every day, day and night, you and me and both of our team from Romania, from different parts of the world, we are connected together and we are discussing. And even with Molloy Sar, I have been discussing on many issues. So I think and I hope that our star, Mr. Molloy, can be helpful on this from his experience. He can share his views, and you also, Sorin, from your vast experience, you can add your values too. So
Yes,
I will.
even to Romania, because we have open to the Black Sea. We are dealing with human trafficking because they are some kind of people who entered by sea or by the other borders from Bulgaria or from Turkey.
Okay.
It's a good way to come for them, for traffickers, for
Okay.
traffickants. Sorry,
Yes.
to get the victim even from far parts of the world.
Yes,
They
Sar
are
wanted to.
already build the roads to avoid the police and the control.
Yes,
Unfortunately, on the route are some victims who die because of exploitation
Okay, Sorin, Sar wanted to.
until they reach the point to be trafficked.
Okay, thank you.
yes,
Sar, please.
yes, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to our learned friend from Romania for underlining that particular point. In fact, I, to my utter regret, had forgotten to mention about organ trafficking, which is no doubt another business, illegal business that is widespread throughout the world and particularly in the developing countries. But this happens again on two grounds. One is, of course, children are often abducted, or babies are abducted, kidnapped, as we call them sometimes. And then they are transported from one place to another without their custodian's knowledge and sold and the chain in a chain and goes on this from one place to another until they are brought to the operation theatre and their organs are extracted from their bodies and those children often find themselves without life. What I mean, they are killed or they're lifeless. And the second thing often happens is the grave danger throughout the world. Parents or their custodians often believe that if they hand over their children for adoption, their children are going to be better off, which is often, and I have to reiterate the word often or frequently, a grave danger, because those parents often trust those human traffickers or organ traffickers, and believing them, they sell their children to those traffickers, to those criminals, to those offenders, without knowing exactly.
Unfortunately, every year, yes, unfortunately, every year, I guess in every country, some people are absolutely vanished. They become only some number in statistic of disappearance, and nobody knows about them. They are females, they are men, they are children.
Okay.
Nobody knows about them. They are vanished absolutely. They are kidnapped or they appear to TV to missing person.
Very true, very true.
And the final target is various. It's various because it's not simple trafficking. Are two parts, as I like to know: the clean traffickants who are paying money to the state, like they are clean and they are do nothing illegally, but there are only some walls, protection walls, and the other parts are the dirty traffickants who they are in the bad part of the situation. Of course, all the traffickants are in the bad part. No excuse for a traffickant to traffic human. Not even an animal not deserves to be trafficked, but human too.
Okay.
We must to show respect to every soul on earth, and to fight against this phenomenon. How we can prevent it? The solutions, the solutions are so multiple, but in reality, the solutions are few because they are not applied. Only a small quantity of victims are taken back from these networks, are saved from this network. It's just a small quantity. The rest may be dead or trafficked until the end of their life.
Okay. So, sir, what do you think? How we can?
From your point of view, how can we prevent it? From your point of view, how can we prevent it? This phenomenon. Why is not stopped?
Okay. Florin, can you ask our sir that the point how we can prevent it and what is the initiative? What do you think? I want to know both of your points, Florin.
Yes,
in the Constitution, I guess in every constitution, at least in our constitution, the right to humanity is written, but in reality, it's broken because it's not applied how it's written. You know, rules are not rules for everybody.
Okay. So I would like to listen from our sir, Mr. Mola from India, that what is the really the issue, how we can prevent it, and what is the initiatives that can be taken?
Returning to our constitution, I would like to emphasize the fact that we also have fundamental rights. And right to freedom is most certainly guaranteed by our constitution, which was promulgated as early as on the 26th of November of the Gregorian year 1949, which is 2 months prior to India declaring herself, exactly 2 months prior to India is declaring herself a republic, because India became a republic on the 26th of January of the Gregorian year 2000, I beg your pardon, 1950. But you see, we often regret to admit that there are no rules without exceptions, or sometimes as it is also called. It is not an excuse, I want to emphasize, but this is a practical fact. Exceptions prove the rules. Sometimes exceptions can be justified. For example, if truly when that child is adopted by loving parents from another country, that adoption may be justified. But there cannot be any justification if the child is sold out for human trafficking or organ trafficking, as our learned friend from Romania already said. There are, of course, there are multiple problems, and there is another very specific problem, which in many cases encourages, if not discourages, I should say, it fails to discourage such criminal activities. And it is called corruption, often based upon bribery. In developing countries, and I do not want to name any country by name, I do not want to degrade or to show disrespect towards any country, but this is well known to the authorities themselves that in many countries corruption increases because public servants are often being able to receive bribe, perhaps not openly, but everyone knows this is done. And if even a little percentage of those public servants can be corrupted, the whole system collapses. Like that tripod stool I mentioned, if a part of that leg of that stool, once part is broken down, the stool is likely to fall and collapse, like that wooden stool, the example I gave just a moment ago. So we need to fight against corruption. And I mentioned already at the very beginning, it's a global problem. Human trafficking and illegal slavery are not only in our countries, but throughout the world. We need to act globally, as our learned friend from Romania said, hand in hand.
Hand in hand,
together, drawing each other, and trying to close that circle up until, like the white blood cells collapses a virus, until the virus is destroyed, we also destroy that vicious circle of human trafficking and illegal slavery. That is what we have to do. That is at least my opinion. But I want to point out, now this is increasing not merely due to the former poverty, but also this current plague caused by corona, or COVID-19 as it used to be called. Because too many people are now out of work, too many people have to go out, and also caused by war-like situations, because too many people have to leave their native homes, and as I said, either emigrate or move themselves from one place to another for a better living, but they find themselves in a much worse place in life. That's what I can say.
So what about you?
How can be stopped? Because it's age phenomenon. It's a more back in time phenomenon since the Roman Empire, how you said, or after when United States trafficking the Indians or from Black Africa. How can be stopped since so back in time in centuries? Now we are in 21st century and the phenomenon is still here.
Sir from Romania, permit me to answer this question with a question, if you permit me to do so. Why do you think slavery
Yes.
has become illegal today? Why do you believe that? Let me ask this question. Please tell me your opinion. Why do you think now slavery once upon a time was legal, now it is illegal? How the form has changed? Why do you think this has happened? Why? I'm asking you this question directly, sir. What is your opinion? Could you understand
You
my
want to
question?
say something?
Yes.
Okay,
Would
tell
you
me,
like,
Suresh.
would you like to
Tell
reply
us.
to this question? Then I shall say my opinion. But please, what is your opinion? Why do you think?
Yes. We try to eliminate also because in European Union we have
Hold on. I
some
first
rules
want to
for
hear
this.
your opinion.
But
Why do you think legal slavery once upon a time has become illegal today? Why do you think that? What has discouraged legal slavery? What exactly? Why do you think? It is your personal opinion. It doesn't have to be correct. Why do you
Right.
think it happened?
yeah,
Permit me then to answer the question.
yes,
I believe,
we
I
need
believe
to build a friendship to strengthen
yes,
the collaboration. Yes.
true. But I believe one of the reasons is because many, if not most countries, were able to educate their people and make them aware of their
In the
rights.
after the World War, one wise man said a quote like this: "If you save a soul, you save a nation."
True, but I
Wow.
want to know. You see, even long before
Yeah.
Second World War, I'm talking even at the time of late President
So
Abraham Lincoln.
even the quantity of the saved soul will be small, will be good at least for them. If we're
Right.
not good to save everybody, but we at least we will try.
Is what I'm
Yes.
saying. We need to educate people, make them aware of their legitimate rights, human rights. Madam Sultana from Dhaka will be able to clarify this point better than I do because she is the vice president of the human right, the organization. So she will be able to clarify this better than I can, I believe at least. But you see, now referring to this, not long ago, and I'm referring to somebody who will be able to understand to whom I'm referring. When she addressed me as the light of her soul, I said
Yes.
I would be delighted if I could light a single lamp in the world of our utter darkness. Something like that I replied myself. So you see, allow me to give you an example, very simple example. You can try this out practically at your convenience. Be in a
Okay.
completely dark room, 1 minute it will take, dark room. Then light a single matchstick to light a single candle or a lamp, we call in Bengali pradip, oil lamp, and see that darkness immediately is no longer that dark. And each time the lamp flickers, the candle or the oil lamp, the darkness shivers. So it is in your world. A single voice was raised by Spartacus, that Roman slave, and the whole Roman Empire began to shiver. That great man Abraham Lincoln spoke out against slavery, and all those slave traders began to shiver. Late Mr. Late Man, late Mr. I should say late Nelson Mandela, spoke out, and the South African apartheid system began to shiver. If each of us can light a single lamp and another one comes and joins us, then the darkness becomes far less powerful and the light becomes far more powerful. Returning to
Inshallah.
that German friend of mine, I just want to say something that he taught me in life. He said to me, Molloy, a very good friend of mine who helped me a lot during my stage work, Mr. Lutz Wolfgang Sheikh, he said, Molloy, if you can free a single individual from the jail who is imprisoned unlawful, but he was unable to prove his innocence.
Yes.
And you proved, sorry, but not one, two. He said two. And those two people go in chain and bring out another two in each turn. Then 6 people are free, and those 6 people can work, and then they free many more, and this goes on in chain. This happened also in America before slavery was abolished. The battles were fought. This happened in British Empire. This happened in other parts of the world. And so if many of us, and then more of us, join in that chain, we can fight successfully against that vicious circle. That's what I believe.
Yes,
okay,
true.
thank you, sir. Now I would like to request our Sorin to raise one issue, that how we can solve the issue. Sorin, I would like
Yes.
you to address and you to speak to our sir, and also you to discuss on this very solution part. Please, I would like to request you raise your points, how we can solve the issue, how we can stop the slavery, how we can stop human trafficking. Your initiatives, your plan from your organization from Romania. Sorin, I want to know in detail about your plan, and how would like our Moloy sir can help in your project or our together, our initiative. What do you like to
Last
say?
year we had some seminars with a feminist organization from Bucharest, and then among the teams was this one with abuse and human trafficking. So
Okay.
we like to, I mean, not just we start the initiative, and we have the support of the police in this issue.
Okay.
When appear this kind of problems, they direct the cases to us to try to find out the real problems, and to try to solve this, to help them, because a victim of domestic violence, for example, and abuses and human trafficking are free represented in court, because we have also human trafficking cases.
Okay.
For this, I mentioned that we warn the young children to avoid these traps
Okay.
in online and outside in the real world, not to become victims of trafficking, to avoid to be kidnapped on the street or blackmailed or something, and in exchange to become a victim. So we have some initiatives with local
Okay.
authorities. We have collaboration with them based on this problem. And
Okay.
when it's occur kind of this problem, we try to solve it together with authorities,
Okay. I see.
with police, with psychologists, with doctors, because
Okay.
it's a delicate problem. It's a delicate problem to discuss with a victim of human trafficking.
Acha. I see. Sorina, do you think there is one syndicate internationally? Those are playing on this. Do you think there is a syndicate, big people behind the scene? They are leading the show of these victims to fall into the trap. Do you think so? There is a syndicate working for this human trafficking and this illegal slavery. Do you think there is anyone behind of this whole heinous
Yes,
scenario?
of course, behind the curtain, there are puppeteers, the master of the puppets who are working with the executors, because in the front are only the executors who make the dirty job, let's say, and behind they get the money, clean money, and they wash the money after, using
Okay.
these methods of human trafficking, because it's a very rich market, the human trafficking. Not only, as I said, not only for prostitution or burglars or beggars,
Right.
but also for body organs. They are very rich.
Sorin, I would like you to request, please ask our Malloy sir from India that what you like to do something together with even Malloy sir where can help us to lighten the soul, as I have told already to our star. He can really create a benchmark. He can do what kind of participation, where he can add value. Please discuss from your point of view, Sorin. Please talk to our Malloy sir on this very international platform. Please discuss how you want to collaborate with these sort of different countries, with this sort of great personality, those who has vast knowledge, vast experience on these very crucial moment, critical issues, how they can solve, how they can add value. Please ask our Malloy sir from India. Dear Sorry, I would like to give you the opportunity, please.
Yes, of course, in these times, the problem is it's back in times, as I said before, is not solved until now. And also in India and Asia, also in Europe, also in Africa or South America, even
Okay.
there are different places, different spots. The problem is almost a pattern.
So what do you
It's
think? What do you think
what?
how our Malloy sir can help you to solve this issue? As you are working in NGO and I'm also the part of it, what do you think how our Malloy sir, being very intelligent, being he is also involved in social work, right sir? As I have seen you in your CV, please
Yes.
mention your
You're
experience.
right about social work, but I'm not a very intelligent person. I most respectfully disagree on that point. However, let me just put a few points.
Jeez.
Most of us who know a little English or are in command, we know that old phrase which says charity begins at home.
Right, right.
And in this sense, what I'm trying to emphasize, underline the point, we don't have to be necessarily a part of any organization to combat this
Okay.
problem. You see, when I go onto the street into a shop, I sometimes see a little boy, a little girl on his or her own. I try to make friendship with that person without touching that person physically, of course, and
Bravo.
then encourage that person, tell that person very frankly. I said, look, excuse me. I said, look, if somebody tells you when you're at school, when you first of all, never tell a stranger where you live, and never tell a stranger where you study at your school. And if somebody comes to you suddenly, even somebody whom you might have met once upon a time and says, your mother is calling you, or your father is calling you, or come let me buy you an ice cream, or let me buy you a bar of chocolate, don't go with that person. Tell that person, no, I shall not go unless and until my mother and my father, or the person who looks after me, comes first. I tell the same thing to the parents when I see them with children. Please ensure that your children are never on their own on the street. Even though in developing countries like ours, this is almost practically impossible. But still, I tell that. The reason
Okay.
why I do this is very simple. Even in one of the most highly industrialized countries, I'm not going to name this country, but I was a guest in this country for longer than 12 years. On 3 occasions, I myself saw children being away from their parents or foster parents, and I had to take care of those children, bringing them back to the authorities. One of the incidences was that a little child was standing at a bus stop, and as you know, in those countries, buses come and stop exactly at the bus stop. And suddenly I heard the bus driver saying, and no, I'm not going to use the expression in the native tongue because then you will know which country I'm referring to, but I'm translating it. And then she says, look, I don't think it's a good idea that you are on your own, he said to that little boy. Then I asked the bus driver if he could not transmit the message via microphone, his set he had on his bus. He said, if I did that, I would have to wait. I said, all right, then I shall disembark. I shall wait for the police. You just let them know. I didn't have a mobile phone those days. It was many years ago. So I waited until the police authorities or policemen came. I identified myself. I handed the child over to them. And later, the mother of the child approached me and she said the child often runs away from home. But I discovered the mother herself was addicted to alcohol. There were two another occasions when a child I found left a shop, the parents were in the shop, and the child came out onto the pavement of a very busy street. So I was in company of a German friend, I guess, no matter, a German friend of mine, that is not a problem, I'm not referring to the country. And then I accompanied that child back to that shop and handing over that child to its parents. And the third time was that the child was completely on its own. I could not find the parents. I had to go shopping. The shops in those days in that country used to close by 6:30. So I did not have a phone of my own. I went to a restaurant. I called the police. I left the child in the care of those restaurant workers and went shopping. Returned from the shop, I heard the mother saying to that child, "You are only here," in the native language. You see, sometimes those parents are extremely careless, and as we call it, negligent in legal terms. And those traffickers find too easy to kidnap those children and traffic them away.
Okay.
That is.
I would like, if you allow me, about
Yes,
human trafficking, I want to give you a real example.
yes.
2 years ago,
From my own life. I said that from my own life. Only I didn't name the country.
two years ago, two young girls, 14 years old, have been kidnapped on the street. Fortunately or unfortunately, one of them have been seen on the camera, surveillance camera, when he's vanished, when he was kidnapped. He tried to call the police. He called the police, but the police thinks he was a bad joke first time. After a while, the call was repeat, and the girl announced again, "I am kidnapped. Please save me." They tried to locate the girl using the tracking phone. They reach the location after several hours, but because the law forbidden the entrance into the building if it's not a justified case, they need to wait at the gate a few hours. This is the law. They respect the law. They wait outside 2 hours, and when they have entered into the building, they discovered the bodies, the supposed bodies of dead girls, and many other rest of bodies. And they said it's a serial killer, first of all. But after a while, he changed his testimony, and he said the girls have been kidnapped by the human trafficking networks. He not killed them, and they are kidnapped by the human trafficking network. After 2 years, since then, have been past 2 years. In that time, he changed the testimony several times. So the police don't know when he tells the truth or when he lies. He's in jail. He is still in jail, but every time he changes the deposition, the testimony. The last one is the girls are not murdered by him, just are kidnapped by the traffic international networks. The families, you can imagine the pain of the family who doesn't know if their daughter is dead or alive. After a few years, They don't know. They still don't know.
So
what can be done?
Yes,
What can be done? I don't know,
question.
because Interpol is announced, international police is announced, FBI, even we collaborate even with FBI to come here a profiler to discover when he tells the truth, because it's a very complicated case with this kind of supposed murderer, or as you asked me before, who is back into the stage, because he's only the executor. He just pick up the girls, keep them a while in his house, and after, don't know, they vanished.
Okay.
Nobody knows.
Sir, I have a question to you. Yes, sir, from Romania.
Please.
Is Romania a signatory to the human rights, or one of the human rights, what do you call them? No, it's not called the Charter. The human rights, what they call the treaties on human rights, initially signed in Europe, the European Human Rights Treaties. Is Romania a signatory to this treaty, one of the treaties?
Yes.
Is Romania, that's my question to you, sir. Is your country a signatory to European human rights treaties?
Yes. Yes, unfortunately we have problems with.
No, the reason I'm asking is a question. You see, there is a dark side in that treaty, which often allows offenders to escape their penalties, because that treaty, like that, we have our fundamental rights too, which says
we have here some foreign communities, Asian communities, African communities, small, because they come here to work or to travel to Western Europe. So most of them, they are trafficked by human traffickers.
Yes, but you see that treaty, and in all that those treaties and also our fundamental rights also provide a gap for offenders to escape, because our system and all the European Convention, I beg your pardon, that's the word I was looking for, European Convention on Human Rights, they provide the possibility for the accused to be assumed innocent until proven guilty beyond all reasonable doubts.
Yes.
And that is exactly what is often causing the problem, because these offenders, as you said, change their verdicts each time, their defenses, and it becomes extremely difficult to prove those offenders to be guilty beyond all reasonable doubts. That is a grave, grave setback in any legal system of any civilized country of the world. It is tragic but true.
Yes.
Okay. Sorin, tell me about the solution part, please. Can we discuss about the solution part? Both of you, I would like to request both of you. Please discuss on the solution part. We know that the situation is very bad. We know that there is a syndicate behind of this thing. We know that we need cooperation from many ends, but can we address on solution part from Sorin, from our Molloy sir of India? Please discuss on these issues.
Please, sir.
But I believe we, as I already mentioned before, we need to work hand in hand with our fellow countrymen and women and our fellow global citizens, but at the same time, we need full cooperation from the police authorities, whether this be FBI of the United States of America, or Europol in Europe, or Interpol in the world, and CBI of India. But we need to work hand in hand with the police authorities, because like the tripods too, all those systems, at least the executive system becomes quite crippled without the cooperation of us, the common citizens of each of our countries. And that is important, that we need to cooperate with the police authorities in order to ensure that those offenders are brought before the judiciary and they receive the punishment which they deserve. That's all I can
I
say.
have question to you, sir. Mr. Molloy,
Yes,
I have
please.
question to you that there is FBI, there is United Nations, there is United States, there is our law and authority, we have police, we have politicians, we have NGO, but why not we could have stopped it yet? Why not, sir? And how long it will take to stop it? How long?
Well, honestly speaking, how long it will take is beyond my knowledge, because I am merely a human being, and this problem, as it was also pointed out by our learned friend from Romania, has been
Okay.
existing since time immemorial, beyond our memory. But we can at least close the circle to a place where those people, those offenders, begin to suffocate if we work together. And the better we cooperate with each other and with the police authorities, with the legitimate government of each of our countries, I should say governments of each of our countries, with our victims together, it is very important that we try to track those victims whenever we can, wherever we can. And those who are bereft of those victims, the bereaved ones, those parents who lose their children, for example, or those husbands who lose their wives because they have been trafficked, those parents who lose their sons and daughters because those sons and daughters have been trafficked. We need to cooperate with them together and work hand in hand with the police authorities. And we need to always try our best to inform the authorities concerned, because they have the executive power whenever we begin to suspect someone, that someone is trying to traffic somebody, whether this be a little child or a girl or a woman. We need to inform the authorities to the best of our abilities, without any delay, without any hesitation. A little too late in such situations can be regrettably much too late. Perhaps absolutely impossible to solve the problem if we leave it on its own. That is absolutely important, something we must bear on our minds without any type of doubt whatsoever.
Okay.
That's my
Sorin,
answer.
can you ask something to start, or you can discuss
Theoretically,
again?
theoretically, the state has all the tools to stop the traffic, all kind of traffic.
Right.
Theoretically,
Okay.
they have the power and they have the tools to do it. But intentionally or not, they are overcome. They are overpassed of this
Why?
overwhelm of this situation.
Why? And Sorin,
Intentionally or not, they can invoke that they have not enough personnel to do it, to use the tools against the traffic. It's an excuse sometimes. Sometimes it's real. Another point of view is that a tool or a step, it's from the victim itself, because he choose to go to a better life. Maybe let's discuss this situation. He wants to go to a better life, and during the way he's becoming, or after a while he's becoming a victim of human trafficking. So initially was a good start, but I think it's in the victim's power to try to avoid this. First step,
okay.
the solution, I think, is to the middle, between the state and between the victim.
Okay.
Sometimes I guess a collaboration between two of them and social organization like ours can be done more with this to solve this
Okay.
state, social activities, and victims, the three parts
What do you think, sir?
who can be in balance with the bad guys, let's say.
If I were asked that question, I would say, I would again return to that tripod stool, three-leg stool to which I returned. You see, that three-leg stool requires a place to rest upon. If it is a smooth floor, it stands smooth. We have to be that floor to support that tripod stool. You see, when I was a little boy, I came across a fable, and I believe Madame Sultana probably also read that fable, since we both speak Bengali as our first native tongue. It was a fable. You know what a fable is from Romania.
Yeah,
It is an untrue
a
story. It's
victim,
an
a
untrue
victim
story
cannot
that
base.
that
Yeah,
teaches a morale. It was a story, an untrue story of a crow, a thirsty crow. During the hot, dry season, during the season of drought, it flew across the land because it wanted to quench its thirst. But it could not find any water except in a very narrow, deep well. But the crow was too afraid to fly into that deep, narrow well. It was too deep, too narrow, too dark for the crow. And as you know, birds cannot see well in darkness, other than owls and few other birds, like kiwi in New Zealand, for example.
yes,
But suddenly, and I'm saying it's a fable, not a true story, but it was struck by an idea. It saw many pebbles, little stones, lying around the well. It began to throw one stone upon another, one pebble upon another, one pebble upon another, I beg your pardon, until the water rose and it could quench its thirst. So it is, there is justice and equity, natural justice and equity for all of us somewhere in that deep well. But each of us needs to come forward and drop a simple pebble first, and perhaps somebody with a greater power, maybe an authority, state authority, civil service as a whole, comes with a larger boulder or with a rock and drops that until the water rises. And then there is justice, natural justice and equity for all. And by that saying, I want to conclude my version for tonight, but I'm ready to answer questions. To my most respected Bengali viewers, I can also say, আমি বাংলা বলতে পারি অল্প, খুব পরিষ্কার নয়, শুদ্ধ নয়, কিন্তু বাংলা বুঝতে পারি। আপনারা যদি খুব শুদ্ধ বাংলা না বলেন, সাধারণ বাংলা বলেন আর ধীরে ধীরে বলেন, আমি তাহলে বাংলায় উত্তর দিতেও চেষ্টা করব আপনাদের প্রশ্ন। If they have any questions, I'm ready. I shall do my best to answer it. I do not know whether I can satisfy anybody properly, but I shall try my utmost. That's all.
Sir, today from Portugal, one of our migrated person, so he contacted me in the very early morning today, sir, when I was writing questions to you. So
Yes.
he said that regarding this issue, regarding the life of migrated people, and I will also like to host many shows on this, that migrated, how is the life of migrated people? And we would like to, of course, work together. I want your cooperation. I want, Sorin, your cooperation also. So
yes.
I should be glad to cooperate, provided you put my name right at the bottom.
We can shake the hand. We can shake the hands over the seas and over the borders.
Yes, symbolically. And I already began by saying we are not in opposition. We are on the same floor,
right,
belonging to the same community of humanity, what we call it, or the circle of humanity, with the same aim of combating such heinous crimes in service of true humanity. Because I believe it is humanity which makes us human beings, and true humanity makes us worthy of our true human and worthy human births, and that applies to each and every single one of us. Humanity does not have to be merely in the service of those victims who have been trafficked, helping somebody who is an elderly person going on the pavement to carry the bag, for example, offering someone the seat who needs a seat on a public transport, maybe on a bus, on a tram car, on a railway compartment, who needs that seat, or even in a crowd, or even helping somebody to go across the street, a person who is deprived of sound eyesight, maybe. Speaking to somebody a few kind words who is in desperate need of consolation, like somebody whose relatives died, not perhaps, or who is set back because he or she failed in an examination. All those things can be parts of our human service, in service of true humanity, and we can do that. And I believe each of us, at least most of us, have been talented by our Creator, the Almighty, to render such services. That's my opinion. And we can do it.
Yeah, sure, we can do this. Sorin, I will ask your part, your contribution. So to solve the issue, how you can solve it, how you have designed your planning, initiatives and goal, how you have emphasized your future initiatives to solve this sort of issue. So I would like to know about your planning initiatives and your organization's point of view. How you can solve this sort of issue that is happening everywhere, not only in Romania, not only in India, and not only in Bangladesh. We are facing the same issue everywhere. So how you want to deal, Sorin, from Romania?
From Romania, we want to, and we do it with cooperation with the police and international police, European police. In theory, we are able to stop it, but in reality, as I said, it's not solved yet. This kind of problem, this kind of issue.
Yes.
The solutions, the proposals are many. To be a more strict control to borders, for example, to try to stop this traffic. Some lessons into the schools to inform the children, and not only the children, but also seminars, open seminars with everybody want to participate to this topic. Adults, even older people, just to know, because they have grandchildren, they have nephews, so they can be informed about the danger of this issue. Everybody must be informed. It's one part of the solution. The information, the power of information.
Okay.
The other solution, as I said, is a more strict control. Many things cannot be done because you cannot stop the freedom of travel of everybody. It's a right here in the Constitution, and European Constitution is granted the right of travel. You cannot stop because you don't know who is under the cover of traffic, or who is a traveler, simply traveler. You cannot know.
Yes. Yes.
And you cannot stop the freedom of the others. It's a delicate problem with a very thin line between freedom and control.
Sure.
It's not. It's not a very easy problem to solve it. Can be done, not completely. I guess will not disappear at all, because somebody high will still continue to gain money or different advantages from this issue. So I guess with another part can be little down the corruption, to get down little the corruption.
Okay.
Because without the corrupted people cannot be down some deals.
Okay.
In theory, can be done. In practical, it's more difficult to apply because, as I said, it's about the thin line between control and liberty.
Okay.
It's up to sometimes maybe it's up to the victim to avoid this kind of situation. It's not easy. Not to blame the victim, not to blame the authorities. The problem is something somewhere to the middle.
I see.
The state has the tools, as I said, is the most powerful from all of us. He has institution, he has laws, he has lawyers, he has a person to protect this kind of person. They have all the tools, the state, but
I see.
not all the time the defenders are the sheep, the good sheep. Sometimes the defenders are the lions themselves.
I see. Okay. So, Sorin, do you have any question in mind to ask our very much knowledgeable, intelligent sir, our pride of the show, Mr. Molloy from India? Do you want to ask some question on
Yes,
this?
we are talking a lot of about this subject. I think it's a complex subject. I think we can speak until tomorrow if it's not finished.
Because the problem
Inshallah.
continues. Because the problem continues beyond tomorrow.
Is
That is
not
the
solved by centuries. We cannot solve it in one discussion.
Yes, but Sorin, I feel proud to have both of you on this international show because you see, as Sir Molloy has mentioned, if we can light even a single soul, that would be our main achievement. What do you think, Sorin? Isn't it so? It would be
Yes.
our pride. It would be our satisfaction that we have done something at least. What do
Yes,
you
of
think,
course.
sir?
As I said, if we can save few of them,
Right.
at least it's a relief that we can help somehow.
True, true. So I will ask our dearest sir, Mr. Molloy from India, that what is the role of common people to deal with this issue, and we will of course conclude this show very soon, but we will of course go for the next show on this very topic. We will invite again, and we will also gather our valuable participants, international leaders from different parts of the world. So now I would like to request our dearest sir, Mr. Molloy, if you can light something, enlighten our. Are you fine, sir?
Permit me first to say something. The
Yeah.
organization at which I'm the honorary president, I'm merely the honorary president there. I'm not in the executive body. This is a charitable organization which is based upon the principles laid down upon the New Testament of the Holy Bible. And this charitable organization tries to render services befitting the doctrines of the Lord Jesus Christ. I myself consider myself to be a Jewish Christian, so the Torah or the Old Testament of the Holy Bible are also decisively important in my life. Now, when I teach at university, I try to influence my students that their forthcoming as human beings become very important in true lives, because however educated a person can be, even if that person had the knowledge of late Professor Albert Einstein, that person becomes meaningless if that person failed to exercise proper humanity in service of the needy. This needy
Yes,
does.
from our point of view, we will be delighted to cooperate.
Yes, we need to cooperate and serve the needy, whether they are in poverty, whether they are facing human trafficking and illegal slavery, those kinds of oppression, whether they are set back because they failed in an examination, whether they are also mentally or physically set back.
Yes, we need to expose them. We need to expose them.
Not expose them, but we need to communicate with them in order to ensure that they expose themselves with due dignity. That's my aim. That they should not be ashamed of themselves. They should know that they are worthy human beings. They shall be able to come out voluntarily and freely once they are set free from those circles and say, well, I am a worthy man as anyone else, or worthy woman, or worthy boy or girl as anyone else in the world is. That's my point.
Okay.
We do not merely help them, but we try to teach them to help themselves.
Yes.
Remembering the old phrase in English, God help those who help themselves.
Very right. Very right.
They say, hilf dir selbst, dann hilft dir auch Gott. So is the phrase.
So I will request our sir to speak something in Bengali in your own language so that our Bengali community can get some view from your experience, just to tell something in short to address this very issue, sir. I will request to you, please.
All right, but my apologies first to our friend from Romania because he may not have.
No, he will also speak in Romanian, sir. He will also speak in his own language.
Yes, but you can then record and translate the message to him later.
Okay, sure.
So that everyone is on equal footing on this floor today.
Yes.
আমি আপনাদের প্রথমে বলতে চাই পুরনো সংস্কৃততে নমস্তে, বাংলাতে নমস্কার, হিন্দিতে নমস্কার, আর অ্যারেবিয়ান ভাষাতে আসসালামু আলাইকুম বা উর্দুতে আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওকে।
যেহেতু আপনারা আমার বিশ্বাস অনেকেই, যদি বেশিরভাগ না হন, বাংলাদেশের অধিবাসীরা বোধহয় আপনারা বাংলায় বলেন, আমার বাংলা অত শুদ্ধ নয়। আমি বলতে চাই এবং যে আমার একজন ধর্ম দাদা ছিলেন, যিনি আমার বাবার থেকেও বয়সে বড় ছিলেন, কিন্তু আমাকে প্র্যাকটিক্যালি কোলে পিঠে করে মানুষ করেন, তিনিও ছিলেন মুসলমান, শেখ মোতালেব। তার কাছ থেকে কিছুটা আমি আপনাদের ধর্মমত সম্বন্ধে জানতে পেরেছি এবং শ্রদ্ধা সম্মান করি। যে মহিলা আমার বাড়িতে রান্না করে সেও মুসলমান, তার ভালো নাম তাসমিনা বেগম, আমরা তাকে মীরা বলে বা তসবিরা বলে ডাকি। তার সঙ্গে অনেক সময় আমার কাজ হয়। প্রথমে কিন্তু আমি আমার ক্ষোভ এবং দুঃখ প্রকাশ করতে চাই, যেটা মুসলমান এবং ইহুদি সমাজ দুটোকেই, কারণ আমি নিজে ইহুদি খ্রিস্টান মত মেনে চলি। আমি অত্যন্ত দুঃখিত এবং ক্ষুণ্ণ হয়েছি যে যুদ্ধ এই কিছুদিন আগে শুরু হয়েছিল, এবং আমরা যেটা বলি আমাদের হোলি ল্যান্ডে, এবং গত দুদিন আগে কি 1.5 দিন আগে সবে শেষ এখনো হয়নি, কিন্তু স্থগিত রাখা হয়েছে ফায়ার সিজ বলে, বা সিজ ফায়ার বলা হয়, ফায়ার সিজে। সেই অনুযায়ী এই যুদ্ধ শুরু হয় যে সময় মুসলমানদের রামাদান বা রোজা চলছিল। শুধু তাই নয়, সেই সময়ের মধ্যে আমাদের প্রতিবেশী দেশ আফগানিস্তানে অত্যন্ত অন্যায় হয়েছে, যখন মহিলাদের স্কুলে বাচ্চা মেয়েদের বউ ফাটিয়ে মারা হয়েছে। যে মহিলারা সম্ভবত সেদিন তাদের স্কুলে আসার আগে জল পর্যন্ত পান করেনি, বা যেটা আমরা বলি খায়নি সাধারণ বাংলায়। এবং তার পরের দিনও অনেককে মারা হয়েছে যারা খাওয়া দাওয়া করেনি। তারা, আপনারা যাদের আল্লাহ বলেন, আমরা যাদের এল বলি বা ইংরেজিতে গড বলি, তাকে সম্মান দেওয়ার জন্য এই ঘটনা যারা জানিয়ে করেছে, মানে যারা এই বোম ব্লাস্ট করিয়েছে বা এই যুদ্ধ শুরু করিয়েছে, যে মানুষ নিজেকে বাঁচাতে পারে না তাদের ওপর অত্যাচার করে, তাদের সর্বশক্তিমান ঈশ্বর আমি যাকে বলি ক্ষমা করবেন কিনা জানি না, কিন্তু আমি কোনোদিন ক্ষমা করতে পারি না, পারবো। আমি অত্যন্ত ক্ষোভ প্রকাশ করছি। এছাড়া আমি বলতে চাই যে আমি ছোট বয়সে একটা গল্প পড়েছিলাম, আপনারা সম্ভবত এই গল্পের সঙ্গে পরিচিত। একটি তৃষ্ণার্ত কাক খুব তার তেষ্টা পায়, সে অনেক দূর ওড়ে কিন্তু কোথাও জল পায় না দেখতে, শুধু একটি খুব গভীর কুয়োর মধ্যে। সে কাকটা সেই অন্ধকার কুয়োয় উঠতে ভয় পায়, উড়ে যেতে, কিন্তু সে চারিদিকে দেখে পাথরের নুড়ি পড়ে আছে। সে সেই নুড়িগুলো ফেলতে শুরু করে এবং জল যখন উঠে আসে সেই নুড়ির ধারে সে জল পান করে তৃষ্ণা মেটাতে পারে। আমিও নিজে চেষ্টা করি ছোট ছোট একটা করে সেটা নুড়ি ফেলার জন্য, ফেলতে, যাতে যে ন্যায়ের জল উঠে আসে, এবং আমার বিশ্বাস আপনারাও সেটা পারবেন এবং পারেন। আমরা প্রত্যেকে কিছু না কিছু উপকার মানুষের করতে পারি। একজন মানুষ যে তার ব্যাগ বা থলে ভার ব্যবহার করছে, বৃদ্ধ মানুষ, তাকে যদি আমরা একটু পথ এগিয়ে দিই তার ভারী ব্যাগটা বয়ে, বা বৃদ্ধা মহিলা এগিয়ে দিই তার ওজন, সে কিছু তিনি ওজন নিয়ে যাচ্ছেন সেটা বয়ে, তাহলেও আমরা কিন্তু কিছু কাজ করছি। আমরা যদি একজন অন্ধ মানুষকে সাহায্য করি রাস্তা পেরিয়ে যেতে, আমরা কিছু করছি। একজন মানুষ যার একটা বাস বা ট্রাম বা রেলগাড়িতে বা যাতেই যান সিটের প্রয়োজন, বসার জায়গার প্রয়োজন, তাকে আমাদের নিজের বসার জায়গাটা ছেড়ে দিই, আমরা কিছু করছি। সেইটা আপনারা সকলে অনুগ্রহ করে দয়া করে মনে রাখবেন যে আমরা প্রত্যেকেই যদি ওই ছোট্ট ছোট্ট নুড়িগুলো ফেলি, একটা অন্ধকার ঘরে একটা সামান্য প্রদীপ জ্বালান, যেমন অন্ধকারটা কাঁপে যখনই প্রদীপটা দিক 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 করে, আমরাও সেই রকম অন্যায়কে কাঁপাতে পারি যদি আমরা প্রত্যেকে ন্যায়ভাবে আইন মেনে শৃঙ্খলতা বজায় রেখে এগিয়ে আসি ন্যায়ের জন্য লড়াই করি। আপনাদের কাছে আমার এই যে বিনীত আবেদন, বিনীত অনুরোধ এবং বিনীত ভিক্ষে আমি আপনাদের কাছে জানাতে চাই।
ধন্যবাদ স্যার। I'm very much honored and thankful to our Molo sir from India. He was actually sorry, and I'm sorry he was speaking in Bengali in his own language.
I'm not speaking Bengali or Bengal, but allow me to express the only Indian word I know. Namaste.
That
Thank you so much. Sounds good. Yeah.
You address Madame Sultana.
I hope will not be the last show with this topic and with you, sir. Like I guess.
And don't forget to cover your hair like this, all right? When I pray, according to my Jewish faith.
Will be my pleasure to participate when I will be able to.
Yes.
Thank you to Monira. Thank you to Monira for invitation. Thank you. You are a great guest, very very experienced and very well trained and with large knowledge. It was a pleasure to share with you these ideas and these explanations. I express my gratitude and hope that all the viewers have understand more. And I invite all of them to see this live after will be posted. I will invite also to join us together to grow up together for a more not only better but for a more secure world. If we can do it more secure, will be more beautiful.
Inshallah.
Yes, very true. Very true.
Just to build a more constructive.
I want to apologize. I keep Sabbath according to Jewish law of Shabbat, and I did not shave today, so I look extremely untidy wearing old clothes. So please pardon my inappropriate attire, because I see Madame Sultana is so magnificently dressed today, and I'm wearing such, what we say, rags today.
Not
Yes.
at all. Yeah, Sorin, please tell
No, no,
something. What is your last message to the world? What is your message to the world?
To the world, my message to the world is to unite, to expose every bad thing they will see, because it's not only human trafficking. Are many bad things in the world can be solved,
Mhm.
and just only united we can grow and solve them. Not
Okay,
count on the state. Not count on the state. Be a social activist.
okay,
Be a
got the
voice.
point.
Be a
Be a
voice. Be
boss.
a human. Don't turn the back to the other.
Okay, got it.
Yes. Be
So,
united.
so
This is my two words. Be united.
united and be a voice. Okay, sir, what is your
Yes.
last message to the world,
Yes, I fully
Mr.
concur,
Mohammed?
I fully agree and concur with my learned friend from Romania, and crave leave to quote a brief proverb once upon a time uttered by a great American president. I'm not going to name him, but this happened during the Cold War. He said, "Unity gives strength." And this is unity what we need today in our world. We need to believe that we all of us, regardless of the color of our skin,
Yes,
regardless the color of our eyes or our hair, we all have same red blood. And when we die, if we are not cremated, our bones become white, remain white for all of us. So we all are equal, stand on the same floor of the same world, and therefore we need to fight against this evil unitedly, boldly, truly, genuinely, sincerely, and above all, humbly towards each other. That's my message.
okay, thank you, sir. Sorin, sir was explaining the issue that when he was speaking in Bangla, he was telling about our recent war between Palestine and Israel, what has happened, and how the women and children and innocent people were affected. So when he was explaining the issue, I got really such sort of emotion. I was influenced by his words so much that I was just crying because I felt in the same way that as our sir has described the issue so beautifully, so nicely, and so in detailed points. So I was very much touched with the words of our Molloy sir, and I am very much honored and I am grateful to my colleague, my friend Mr. Sorin from Romania, and we will of course be there wherever we can do something good, something greater, something bigger. And I want to share one thing. Our sister from many countries, from Syria, from Mysore, from India, they are expressing their views that they want to join, and from Bangladesh, from Portugal, from Malaysia. You know, Sorin, I have shared with you on 25, we have Malaysian program, including,
Yes.
sir, Mono sir, including our maybe parliament member from Bangladesh and including some high officials from Malaysia. So we would like to host some important show where everyone's participation, everyone's voice will be counted, where
Yes.
everyone will give their inner aspect, inner feeling, they can share, they can add value, they can work together. So I am really very much hopeful that every day we are getting requests to be united together. People want to really work with us. Sorry, this is a good thing. And
Yes.
Molo sir,
This is the
I will,
target also. Yeah,
One
this
more
is
yeah,
the
yeah,
minute
yeah.
target
for
of
our
our
brother Kenya, right?
organization.
It's one
This is
more
the
minute
target
for
of our
our brother
organization, to be united. For
Sorry.
this reason, we we grant you the directorship for Monira is our director for Bangladesh, India, Malaysia, Morocco, Egypt, Iraq,
the world
Syria,
as a
and
whole.
Saudi Arabia.
The world as
It's
a
a
whole.
queen. It's a
Yes, the
queen
world as
all
a whole.
over the countries.
But you see, returning to this bomb blasting in Afghanistan and the war in Middle East, you see,
Even will be by video.
just
We'll be
permit,
delighted to grow together.
just permit me to conclude. It spoiled totally, it destroyed totally the happy days of Eid for Muslims and the happy days of Shavuot, the original Pentecost for Jewish, Christians, and Jews. That's what happened. None of us could really celebrate either of those two sacred days because
Yeah.
of those incidences. Because if we could, we would fall below the standard of humanity set by our Creator as a whole.
Okay.
Those
So
Yes,
we
yes.
will host more shows, Sorin.
Nothing.
Even will be online by video. Our desire, and we are open to grow together to build a platform where can we be united in one voice, even our different languages.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Maulana sir, we will
Just
request
remember
you
that
to.
He created all of us. So may I again want to cover my head in order to pronounce His blessings towards the world. I should say, may the same Creator, the Almighty, protect all of you, bless you, and enhance your work in service of humanity.
Thank you
I
so
would say
much.
shalom, shalom, and goodbye in the proper sense, because goodbye is derived from the expression God abide with ye, or in modern English, God be with you.
Thank you. Sorin, so do you have anything to say now? Do you like to say something?
I would like to continue this kind of live shows, and I hope to participate as many we can. I can. And from VALEX Association, I want to express my gratitude and our open view to be involved in this unity, in this cooperation and collaboration
Inshallah.
with many organizations we can to build more and more, step by step, through video or cultural exchanges or bilateral exchanges or multilateral exchanges, because it's very important to remain nations through nations and people through people.
Okay.
One of our motto in our post is to be humans for humans.
Okay. Thank you.
When I
So,
speak,
Maulana sir,
I believe that actions speak louder than words, but those actions have to be lawful. And I do not want to advertise any channel, but I can say that many of my foregoing video recordings can be found on the internet under my
Yes.
same name, full name. In case of any doubts, I would request you to turn to Madame uh, Monira Sultana, and you will be able to ascertain my full name under her supervision. I thank you once again for your kind patience, and above all, for coming forward in
Was
service of
my pleasure to participate, and hope to be more and more persons invited and to share their experience and their point of view and their solutions.
yes,
each of you is valid in the world equally. Don't forget it. We all are equal on this earth in service of our fellow human beings. None of us is greater, none of us is less important.
right, very right. So, our international leaders on the show, I am very much delighted to host this show today. because it is almost 2 hours now that we have started our this online live show. But I'm feeling that let it be continue, let it be like this, let it happen like this, because we are so touched together, we are feeling so connected together, that we feel the brother and sister, we feel that everyone can do something more towards our international community, towards our victims. We can really help a lot, being together, being united, being one voice, as my colleague Mr. Sorin has beautifully depicted today. And our Moloy sir, I have no words to say thank you, and I would like to give you more pain, inshallah, to welcome you on this sort of issue, to say a few words, so that our general people, my motto is to arouse the inner feeling, to arise the sense that are not active in mood. I want to participate our general people's hand. I want to really grow someone's view that normal people, innocent people, general people, they can do something really very good, but which they don't feel right at this moment. Our Molostar and Sorin. So from
Yes.
India, there was Moloy sir. He was very learned, very profound in knowledge, vast experience, international exposure. He is a living legend, and I was really surprised to see his CV. I was stopped for a moment that, am I talking to this gentleman? That he is my mentor, he is our teacher, he is our leader. So I'm really grateful to you, our Moloy sir from India, who is working now in Calcutta University. He is international personality, and our Sorin, he is from Romania. He is working in international NGO, and he is connected in many international organizations also. He is connected all over the world. So I'm very much happy that I have your participation on this international show. This is just the beginning. This is not yet done. This is just the starting point where we have started to work together, inshallah. And I promise you, until I am alive, inshallah, if I am active in sense, if I am active in soul, I will be dedicated my everything towards humanity, towards our victim. My motto is to emphasize the power of our victim. Once he or she was victim, now they will be victorious. That will be my main course of action. So Moloy sir from India, Sorin from Romania. Again, I'm very much thanking you to honor our show, to gracefully be presented on this international show. Dear international audience, dear international leaders and United Nations, great leaders. We want to thank you for being there with us, but we want your active participation. All of you, both the government, both the law and enforcement community, both our international society, both our NGO, and our international leader and knowledgeable person like Moloy Star. As you can see, he has stated so many good things, and it was his subject, that human trafficking and illegal slavery. It was chosen by our Moloy Sir from India today. He has chosen the subject, and our dearest colleague, Mr. Sorin from Romania, he has also mentioned that it is also happening in Europe, not only in India, not only in Bangladesh. So we are really bleeding inside of our soul. We want to really stop this. I want to thank our international community, our migrated people all over the world. We want to let you know that be very active, be very cautious, not to fall into the trap of the vicious people, vicious circle, not to fall into the trap of illegal authority, and they are selling dreams, but they are taking away your lives. We will, of course, discuss in detail in our next show, inshallah. So till then, take care, stay blessed wherever you are. So I am just giving you salute from Dhaka, Bangladesh, Monira Sultana, taking this pride to host this very show on international platform. Sorin, and our dearest learned Sir, Mr.
you.
Molloy, I really love both of you. I really honor both of you and respect from Dhaka, Bangladesh. Please be
4 words,
united.
just 4 words. Join us and be united.
Okay, so see you
And
to
we are
see you
your
next.
equal. We are your equal. And the charitable organization at which I also render service on an honorary basis is called the International Humanitarian Noble Academy. This can also be ascertained on the internet.
Inshallah. Together we will work, sir, towards the great vision, towards the great dream, just to serve. I am happy to serve our humanity. So I feel in the same way my dearest sir, Mr. Molloy, also feels very great to serve our humanity. And our dearest colleague from Romania, Mr. Sorin, also feels very enthusiastic and active when he
Yes,
serves our international community.
yes.
Right, Mr.
I
Sorin?
want to ask the help of all of the world to help us to help others.
Inshallah. Okay, so see you in our next session. Till then, take care, stay blessed, stay tuned, and I feel really, really grateful to all of our international community. I will be with you in throughout the greatest journey of life, inshallah. We will serve our international community behind everything, breaking the boundaries, and way much together to build peace, together to build our unity. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Signing out, Monira Sultana from Dhaka, Bangladesh. I would
Uh,
really thank you.
I
Thanks
salute
a
you
lot.
from here. Salute to
Thank you,
everybody.
Paula sir. Thanks a lot. So I'm ending the live session right now. I will be meeting you soon, inshallah. Take care. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.